Imagine giving birth on American soil, only to be told that your newborn is not a U.S. citizen. As unbelievable as that sounds, this is becoming a harsh new reality for thousands of immigrant families in 2025. President Donald Trump's administration has reignited one of the most controversial debates in American history, birthright citizenship. With the stroke of a pen, Executive Order 14,160 was signed, redefining who is and isn't a citizen at birth. For over 150 years, America upheld one powerful idea: if you're born on U.S. soil, you are American. This belief stems from the 14th Amendment, which declares all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens. This concept, birthright citizenship, has long been a cornerstone of American identity and equality. Whether your parents were citizens, green card holders, tourists, or undocumented, being born in the U.S. meant full rights and protections. Until now. In January 2025, during the early months of his second term, President Trump signed Executive Order 14,160, titled Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship. This order aims to block automatic citizenship unless at least one parent is either a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident. The administration claims it's meant to stop so-called birth tourism and citizenship fraud. They say foreign nationals are flying in just to give birth and secure U.S. passports for their children. Trump calls it a loophole. He says it's time to close it. But the backlash was immediate. Legal experts, immigration attorneys, and civil rights groups condemn the order. They argue the 14th Amendment is clear. If you're born here, you are American. No exceptions. Lawsuits flooded in from states like Washington, Massachusetts, and Maryland, joining forces with advocacy groups to file federal challenges. Judges across several states issued nationwide injunctions, blocking enforcement of the order. But the Trump administration appealed, and the battle climbed to the United States Supreme Court. In May 2025, the justices heard arguments in the landmark case now known as Trump v. Versasa. Although the court is technically reviewing the scope of injunctions, the true issue, the future of birthright citizenship, hangs in the balance. If the court sides with Trump, it will reshape American law, rewriting a right that has stood for over a century. And the consequences are not just legal, they're deeply human. In February 2025, a heart-wrenching case shook the world. A 2-year-old girl, Emanuele Boris Santos, born in Boston, was deported to Brazil with her undocumented parents. Despite a U.S. birth certificate, officials argued she was not under U.S. jurisdiction, and thus not a citizen. Now, in Brazil, she's caught in limbo. She has no access to school or health care because she's not considered a citizen there either. Advocates warn this is just the beginning. If enforced, this policy could result in hundreds, if not thousands, of stateless children born in America but belonging nowhere. Meanwhile, lawmakers are moving to codify the change. In Congress, the Birthright Citizenship Act of 2025, introduced by Senator Lindsey Graham and Representative Brian Babin, seeks to limit automatic citizenship. Under this bill, only children with at least one parent who is a citizen, green card holder, or serving in the U.S. military would qualify. So far, it remains in committee. But if the Supreme Court rules in Trump's favor, the momentum could explode. So what does the public think? A January 2025 poll by the Associated Press shows 51% oppose the change, 28% support Trump's position, and 21% remain undecided. That makes birthright citizenship a hot-button issue heading into the 2026 midterms. Politicians are already using it to rally their bases. In fact, it's rooted in one of the most significant legal battles in U.S. history. The foundation of birthright citizenship was laid in the landmark 1898 Supreme Court case, United States versus Wong Kim Ark. Wong Kim Ark was the U.S.-born child of Chinese immigrants who were not U.S. citizens. When he returned to America after a trip abroad, he was denied entry. The government claimed that because his parents were foreign nationals, he wasn't a citizen. But the Supreme Court disagreed. In a historic 6-2 ruling, the court held that any person born on U.S. soil, regardless of their parents' immigration status, is a citizen under the 14th Amendment. This decision not only affirmed the constitutional guarantee of birthright citizenship, it also set a powerful legal precedent that has been the bedrock of American identity for over 125 years. The court emphasized the words subject to the jurisdiction thereof, interpreting them to include virtually all children born in the U.S., with very narrow exceptions, such as children of foreign diplomats or hostile occupying forces. To overturn this now would require a radical reinterpretation of the Constitution, or the passage of a new constitutional amendment, a process so difficult and rare that only 27 amendments have been ratified in nearly 250 years. That's why critics argue this executive order isn't just a legal gamble, it's a direct challenge to America's constitutional framework. And while the legal battles rage on in courtrooms, the effects are already being felt in the real world. Some immigration officials have begun to reevaluate birth certificates and question the citizenship status of children based on their parents' legal status, even for those born before the order. International airlines report a spike in interviews, flight delays, and denials of boarding for pregnant women traveling to the U.S. on tourist visas. These women are now being viewed with suspicion as potential birth tourists. The result? A wave of fear, confusion, and panic is sweeping through immigrant communities. Hospitals that were once places of safety and new beginnings now feel like legal minefields. Families worry that a simple trip to the maternity ward could end in detainment, deportation, or statelessness for their newborns. So where does this all lead? The Supreme Court is expected to issue its ruling on Executive Order 14,160 by July 2025. If the court upholds the order, the federal government could begin enforcing the new birthright rules immediately, leading to the denial of citizenship for potentially thousands of infants born this year alone. If the court strikes it down, birthright citizenship, at least for now, survives. But regardless of the outcome, one truth remains. This debate is far from over. This is no longer just a legal issue. It is a deeply human struggle. A struggle over the soul of the nation. Future presidents, lawmakers, and judges will continue to the same fundamental question. What does it truly mean to be born American? It's about more than just geography. It's about belonging. It's about justice. It's about who gets to share in the promise of the American dream. Whether you were born in the last century or last week, the right to citizenship has long symbolized hope, opportunity, and equal protection under the law. But in 2025, that very promise is now on trial. So, what do you believe? Should the United States restrict birthright citizenship, or should it honor its Constitution and continue to welcome all who are born on its soil? The debate continues, but so does the dream. Whether it's written in law or carved in spirit, being born American has always meant something more than just geography. It meant hope, freedom, and a future. In 2025, that future now stands at a crossroads. Your voice matters. Your beliefs matter. And what happens next could shape generations. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe birthright citizenship should be protected or redefined? Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that matter.
This Adventure Chuckles, where every headline has a human story behind it.